I've been in so many classrooms and taught in so many classrooms where kids will make vocalizations, and students, other students who are around don't seem to notice. After they get used to it, they don't seem to notice, and it doesn't seem to be a distraction. But if students are making really loud vocalizations, or that it is intrusive to the ability to teach because it's so loud that it is difficult to focus, then figuring out what are those vocalizations. Is there a replacement behavior that would be just as satisfying for the student if they did that instead of making the vocalization? Does the student need to know when they can do the vocalization, and when is an appropriate time, when is not an appropriate time? What we don't want to do is we don't want to prevent kids from engaging in behaviors like STEM behaviors that soothe a part of them that they need to have soothed in that moment, without, like, we don't want to say, okay, you can't vocalize in the class, right? Because then a student might start doing another behavior that's more damaging for themselves, right? For example, if a student's not able to vocalize, maybe they then adopt biting their cheek. And then maybe instead of vocalizing, they start to bite their cheek and they are starting to harm themselves. We don't want them to do that, right? We don't want to, and there's a fine line, but it's really figuring out what is the cause of that. If it's a STEM, then is there a replacement behavior that can be done? Can we just talk to the student candidly, regardless of what disability they have, and just share, hey, it's a little bit hard. I totally understand that you need to make a vocalization, but while the teacher is talking, if we could make them quieter, let's practice doing a whisper vocalization or something like that. So the student knows that you honor that they might need to do that. You recognize it. There's nothing wrong with it. But if there's a way that you could work with the student together and figure out an alternative or a better time to do it, or something else that they could do instead, then perhaps we could see that reduce. And it's interesting. I see students in some classrooms where they feel really respected by the teacher and have a really great relationship, who in other classrooms will make a lot of vocalizations, and those classrooms make far fewer. And so it is also really important to understand kind of the different contexts that you see those behaviors in. And maybe it's because the student's feeling extra anxious in certain setting. Is there a way that we can reduce whatever it is that's causing that extra anxiety? It's really hard, and every student is different. So it's really hard unless you really take a deep dive into what's going on. And so if the words are inappropriate, then it's really getting into what is the function of that? Is the student trying to get attention from their peers? They see that if they yell the SHIT really loud, that all their peers turn around and laugh. Well, then that's a good indicator that the student wants their peers' attention, right? So if we could give the student better ways to get their peers' attention because they seem to really like that, then we can start to see that behavior reduce. So usually in those cases, it's twofold. It's give them a replacement way to get that really powerful attention they're seeking, while also reinforcing the reduction of saying profanity.